Once upon a time, nestled between snow-covered hills in the north, there was a frozen village. Its houses were domed roofs of packed snow, and its streets were silent except for the wind whistling between the frozen poles. There were no birds in the sky, no trees in the ground, and no smiles on anyone's faces. For as long as anyone could remember, the people had lived under an endless gray sky. The sun hid its face behind clouds, shrouding the world in perpetual twilight. It was cold, it was dark, and most of all, it was boring. People spent their days huddled inside, telling stories of a time when the sky wasn't always gray and the sun used to shine. They spoke of a magical phenomenon called the aurora, a vibrant display of dancing lights that painted the night sky with colors so bright they could chase away the darkness. But that was just a story, or so everyone thought. One day, a young boy named Kai was listening to one of these stories, his big blue eyes wide with wonder as the old woman spoke of a time when the sky was always gray. When the old woman finished her tale, she looked at Kai and said, "It's just a story, child. Don't let your heart get too heavy with dreams of a brighter sky. You must learn to live with the gray." But that's easier said than done, because Kai was tired of living in the gray. As the days passed, he found himself yearning for more, dreaming of the colorful world beyond the clouds. And one night, as he gazed up at the endless expanse of gray, he decided he couldn't take it anymore. The next morning, Kai woke up before sunrise and set to work. He gathered wood and wove branches together, making a sled strong enough to carry him through the snow. He packed dried meat and berries, then climbed onto his sled and set off across the white wilderness. "I'm going to chase the northern lights," he told the silent sky. At first, the villagers didn't notice his absence. They were too busy weaving baskets to watch the clouds. But as hours passed by, they began to worry. Kai hadn't come back home, and the gray sky seemed to mock their fears. Had he fallen into a snowdrift and been lost forever? Some of the villagers even started to blame the old woman who had told Kai the story. She, after all, had sparked the flame of hope in his heart, only to let it turn into despair. But the old woman knew Kai better than anyone. She knew he would never stop until he reached the end of the gray. So she did the only thing she could. She grabbed a basket filled with supplies and set off to find him. As she traveled, the other villagers joined her, each bringing something to help Kai on his journey. After all, if he succeeded, maybe then the sun would shine again. Days turned into weeks, and the travelers braved blizzards and freezing winds. They searched for any sign of Kai, but the vast whiteness offered few clues. Hope began to dwindle like the daylight, and soon everyone gave up except for the old woman. She refused to believe that Kai was lost. She continued searching, driven by an unwavering belief in the boy and his dream. Meanwhile, Kai kept moving forward, pulled by an invisible force. Whenever the biting cold threatened to stop him, he remembered the old woman's words. Don't let your heart get too heavy with dreams of a brighter sky. You must learn to live with the gray. No, he thought, I won't live with the gray. I will chase the light. And so he pressed on. One day, after weeks of traveling, Kai crested a hill and gasped. Before him lay a sight he had never seen before, a magnificent valley bathed in golden light. In the distance, snow-capped mountains glittered like diamonds against the brilliant blue sky. And above him, the northern lights danced in all their glory, painting the heavens with vibrant hues of green and gold. Overjoyed, Kai sped down the hill, his sled flying over the smooth, well-packed snow. At last, he was here. He was finally close enough to touch the light. He raced across the valley, the wind whipping through his hair, the northern lights shimmering just out of reach. Suddenly, the old woman appeared as if by magic, blocking his path with a worried expression on her face. Kai, you shouldn't be here, she said, her voice trembling. It's too dangerous. But I want to touch the northern lights, Kai cried, his eyes shining with excitement. It's my dream. The old woman hesitated, torn between her love for Kai and her fear for his safety. But, looking into his determined eyes, she knew he wouldn't turn back. So she stepped aside and whispered, Be careful, Kai. The northern lights are powerful. They can burn as brightly as they shine. Then she disappeared, leaving Kai alone in the dazzling valley. With newfound determination, Kai raced towards the northern lights, eager to fulfill his lifelong dream. As he got closer, the lights seemed to dance and shimmer, beckoning him to come near. With every step, the colors swirled around him, green and gold, red and purple, a breathtaking spectacle that filled him with awe. Finally, he reached out his hand, his fingertips tingling with anticipation. But just as he touched them, the lights flared, momentarily blinding him. When he opened his eyes, the world around him had changed. The valley was gone, replaced by an endless expanse of swirling mist. The mountains had vanished, and the familiar sky was now a confusing jumble of dark clouds. Fear clutched at his heart as he realized he had chased the lights so far that he had lost his way. The once exciting colors now seemed menacing, mocking him with their beauty. Panic threatened to overwhelm him, but then he took a deep breath and calmed himself. Though he couldn't see his path, he knew he had a choice to make. He could succumb to fear and despair, or embrace the unknown with courage and hope. Taking a shaky step forward, Kai began to explore this strange new world. As he walked, the mist slowly began to clear, revealing a landscape both wondrous and terrifying. Strange plants with luminous leaves glowed softly, illuminating paths he had not seen before. He came across a babbling brook, its waters sparkling with an otherworldly light. And in the distance, he heard the faint sound of music, like the tinkling of bells carried on the wind. Hope rekindled in his chest. Perhaps this new world, born from the northern lights, held a way back home. Suddenly, a majestic stag emerged from the mist, its antlers crowned with swirling lights. It regarded him with eyes that twinkled like stars and nodded its head towards a path hidden in the mist. With newfound determination, Kai followed the stag deeper into this magical realm. The music grew louder, and the stag led him to a clearing bathed in the warm glow of 1,000 lights. In the center stood a magnificent tree, its branches heavy with glowing leaves that cast dancing shadows on the ground. And beneath the tree sat the old woman. Her face was etched with concern, but a relieved smile broke out as soon as she saw him. "Kai," she cried, rushing to him. "You're all right." "Oh, thank goodness." She embraced him tightly, her voice trembling with emotion. "You found your way here. I was so worried." Kai hugged her back, feeling a rush of gratitude and love for the old woman who had believed in him when all others had doubted him. But as he pulled away, he noticed that the clearing and the path behind him had vanished. The mist had returned, thick and swirling, hiding all traces of the magical realm. The old woman, sensing his confusion, placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Kai," she said gently, "it's time to go home." She led him to the edge of the clearing, and there, hidden in the mist, stood his sled. It seemed as if it had been waiting for them. Hand in hand, Kai and the old woman walked towards the sled. As they climbed aboard, she handed him a small pouch. "Here," she said, "take this with you." Kai opened the pouch and gasped. Inside nestled a handful of glowing leaves. "What are these?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. "These," the old woman said with a twinkle in her eye, "are memories of the northern lights. Keep them close, Kai, and whenever you feel lost or in need of guidance, hold them tight. Their light will show you the way." And with that, Kai bid farewell to the old woman and his adventure in the magical realm of the northern lights. As he embarked on his journey home, he clutched the glowing leaves tightly. Their soft light, a beacon of hope and courage in the ever-present gray. He had not been able to touch the northern lights and bring the sun back to his world, but he had found something far more valuable. the strength within himself to keep moving forward. Even when the gray seemed endless, he had chased his dream, and in doing so had become braver, wiser, and more alive.